Welcome to the program. He is Jacob Warren. I'm Dave Hooker. It's the Fall Report with Jacob Warren, brought to you by Vassy Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it is worth the drive. And we've got a lot to get to. Princeton Fant is a Dallas Cowboy, so I get to double root for guys that I like, and it's my favorite team. Also, what would a home game in the playoffs look like in Neyland Stadium? Player development. Why is Josh Heupel so good at that? And Gaston Moore. We'll talk
Mhm.
about him a little bit. So we've got a lot going on. How are you, Jacob?
Man, I'm great. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. So Princeton Fant going to the Dallas Cowboys, who, since a guy named Jason Witten, who played at Tennessee, have made a habit out of utilizing the tight end position. I'm sure Princeton wanted to get drafted earlier, but
Yeah.
he gets to kind of choose his destination. What do you think of the spot?
Man, I think that's great for him. Obviously, like you said, you look at just the Cowboys just as a program, as a team, right? Have history of, using their tight ends pretty well and using multiple tight ends and doing a lot of different cool things. And I think Princeton's very, very multiple in the way that he plays the game and can provide them a lot of value with special teams and just playing that, the little H back, fullback position, also being able to play in line and run routes and play in the slot and all those different things. So, man, super excited for him. Obviously, that's one of the guys I definitely wanted to see find a home. And so I hope that he just, man, flourishes and does a really good job this next few months leading up to the season.
You mentioned versatility.
Mhm.
That and what else does he bring to the table in the NFL?
Man, just somebody that is committed, man. Like I think that's one thing that's really important to that guy is ball, and he understands, the opportunity that he has, and to provide for his family in the future and for his people right now. Just this opportunity is something that he knows that it can't be squandered, and so he's definitely going to go and give it everything he's got and try his best. And he definitely has all the attributes to be able to do it. So
He has a little girl that he's put out there on social media as
yeah,
well. I would think that would be motivation to make things happen.
yeah, she's awesome, and he talks about it all the time, and just all the little silly, stupid, bad little things she'd be doing around around the apartment and stuff. So I know he does it for her for sure.
She's awesome. You said she's awesome. Tell me about her. Have you been around her very much?
She just I'm not around her even that much, but just on Saturdays after games and stuff, and just watching her like run around the field and she'll go up to him and be pushing on him and just being a bad little kid, and it's hilarious to me because there's some of the stories that he'll tell me about just things that she says and she's learning all these different things and being at school and all this stuff. He just as he kind of hears these stories, he shares them with us every once in a while. So it's good to kind of keep up with what's going on with her.
I want to ask you about your quarterback position, and it's interesting the way I think that Josh Heupel is approaching it. And it's brought to you by Vassy Lawn and Garden. Whether you're in Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga, man alive, it's worth the drive. Toro, count on it. They're in Cleveland. Their buying power will save you money. Vassy Lawn and Garden, man alive, it is worth the drive. Go to vassy.com to learn more. Jacob, Gaston Moore looks like he's going to be your third string quarterback. Now, the transfer portal is still available to take players, but it looks like Gaston at this point. What do I need to know about Gaston Moore?
Um, it's funny. Just Gaston is such a just low key country dude. He's from South Carolina and loves to fish, loves to hunt. And, um, we get along really well just because both just guys that just are nice guys and kind of whatever, just easy going and can talk about whatever and play a lot of golf and all that stuff. So, but yeah, Gaston as a player, man, I think that you watch kind of just what he's done the few times we've seen him, right? When he's gotten games in late minutes or even in the spring game, right? He makes a couple really big throws. And, that one touchdown throw he had to Dayton Sneed, one of our new wide receivers in the corner of the end zone. And you're just like, okay, that was nice. Like, that was good. Like, this guy can actually really play. And, yeah, man, ever since he stepped foot on campus, transferred from UCF, he's just been great to be around and easy to play with and always pretty much knows what he's doing. And I think that's what's helped him, you know, maintain that spot of being a guy that they can lean on, just in case, I guess. So I'm definitely excited for him as we're moving forward.
Obviously, you don't want to get to the point where he has to play because Joe Milton's a projected starter, and then you got Nico. But if he had to play this season, how comfortable do you think he would be? And you mentioned the UCF connection. Now comfortable would you and your teammates be in him getting in the game?
Yeah, I mean, that's we've talked about this before. I think when we talk about Joe, right, it is you got your guy, right? Last year it was Hennon was our guy, and Joe was the backup. And at any moment, right, if Joe goes in, like we all feel perfectly confident, perfectly fine with him because we've repped it. We've gotten reps with him in one on ones, and in 7-on-7, and routes on air, and all these different team periods where Gaston's right there behind us, and it's like it doesn't even matter, right? You don't even really know who's back there because at the same time, like they're all doing the same thing, they're all making the same calls, and Coach Halsey has done a great job, Hype has done a great job, Mitch and all those guys that are their GAs and their assistants have done a great job of building that group and developing that group into being, you know, just plug and play, man. Like they can really all go in there and do what they need to do. So
What do you I mean, when he's able to prepare and the fact that he knows this offense as well as he does, how much do you think that helps some of the young players, be it Nico at the quarterback position, or can he be somewhat of a coach on the field during practice?
no doubt, yeah, I think that's a big thing too, is being able to lead from that position, right? It doesn't, obviously to him it matters, but it doesn't matter if you're the starter or if you're the backup or whatever. As long as he if he knows what's going on, he's not afraid to jump in there and even tell Joe or even tell Nico, the guys that are technically quote unquote ahead of him. Like that's his job as a teammate, just being a good teammate and trying to make that group better. So yeah, man, he does a great job and definitely earns whatever he gets.
What makes Josh Heupel so good at player development?
Mhm. Holistically or as truly as just a player.
Let's start with holistically.
So I think holistically, like ever since he stepped on campus, and the very first thing he said was, "Man, like we're gonna love you guys. We're gonna just provide a place that everybody can just be themselves, but we're also gonna demand a lot out of you." And I think that kind of ties into both, right? Is personally like when I go in that building, I know that I'm not going to be disrespected. I'm not going to be treated poorly in any way. Like they're going to coach me and they're going to correct me if I'm wrong because that's part of life first of all, and that's part of football for sure. Um, but they've just created an environment of trust and of love and respect and clear communication. So nothing's ever foggy. Nothing's ever like, okay, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that because someone told you that that's what you're supposed to do, right? So it's a matter of just being accountable to ourselves and everybody else, just holding each other to the standard that they've set, and it's a high standard, and that's the reason that we're developing well as players, right? It's because there's a really high standard for you performance wise, and for your body and your mind being able to play the game. There's a really high standard that we're held to, and so that's kind of what you see show up whenever you see guys like Jalen Hyatt who have these amazing seasons, or Hendon Hooker who seem to show up every single time for us. You know what I mean? It's just because we've been held to that standard since Hype got here, and it's just coming out to be seen now. So
You mentioned the term disrespectful. I have been around coaches, not necessarily at Tennessee,
yeah,
but previously, that I thought probably crossed the line and were disrespectful when they were trying to motivate, trying to push, and
yeah,
maybe the heat of the moment went too far. And I'm not
yeah.
going to name names, but um, how do you define that line? What's the difference?
Um, to me, it's like respect, and again, this is goes across the boundaries of just football, right? Respect is a mutual thing. I think that in football, you think about respect in three different ways. The players have to respect each other, the coaches have to respect each other, and the players and coaches have to respect each other, right? So, like, by Coach Hype setting the example of respecting his coworkers, right? Respecting his coordinators, respecting his even the GAs, right? The assistants. Like watching him show respect to those guys, that just kind of sets the example for us to be like, okay, like obviously the head guy doesn't treat anyone differently than whoever, right? He's treating everybody the same. He's treating the walk-ons the same as he's treating the starting quarterback. So that kind of is has just set the example for us to do the same, right? Like we never question whether or not I mean, he loves us or he cares about us because he's going to talk to us like a man. Some people in the program, I would say, are grown men. Some people probably wouldn't say are grown men yet, but they'll get there, right? So it's like just treating everyone just the way that you know what I mean. The golden rule, right? Treat everyone the way you want to be treated, and um, you can't ask for respect if you're not willing to give it. So I think that piece has been really big coming from Coach Hyde from the beginning.
Kind of read my mind. I was going to refer to the golden rule. Maybe we're spending too much time together. Jacob, what is one player you would point to? And I have an idea in my mind, but what
Mhm.
is one or two or three players you would point to that you look at and you say, under Josh Heupel, this guy came from, I don't know if he can play at the collegiate level to,
Yeah,
man, turned out to be really good.
man. Yeah, obviously the obvious ones are Hendon. I think Hendon, Jalen, all these guys that you want to name off are just guys that, man, they've had this ability, they've had this talent in them, this potential in them forever, right? Since they've stepped foot on campus. But I think this offense and Coach Hype just gives everyone a really, really good opportunity to show exactly what it is that they've been preparing, and to show that standard that we've all tried to hold ourselves to. So um, yeah, dude, like you get guys that have breakout years like Jalen, and you're like, where did that guy come from? It's like, well, Jalen's been there the whole time, right? He's been working. He's been, the jugs machine, what we call it, the little thing that shoots the balls. He's been on the jugs machine every day. I watch him do it every single day after practice, every single day after workouts. He's out there doing it. So it's no surprise to us, but definitely it's cool to see guys kind of just pop up out of nowhere, and you just wonder like, how did that happen? And it's just preparation and opportunity.
I'm going to ask you about Jalen to New York City. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a culture change,
Yeah.
and you could be in that position in a year. I mean,
Mhm.
how significant would that be, and do you think it is for Jalen?
I mean, it's awesome at the same time, right? Like as young men, um, it's cool to think about, right? Like you especially for me, right? So I grew up in Knoxville. I'm from Knoxville. I still live in Knoxville, and I go to school here. So the opportunity and the idea of maybe going somewhere new, and still being able to play football and do all these cool things, and um, obviously it sounds great, and I'm sure Jalen will be very happy with it and will love it. And if he doesn't, then whatever. But that stinks. But yeah, it's definitely a culture shock, and it's definitely something that all of our guys are gonna have to get used to. We got guys going to Kansas City, Missouri. We got guys going to Los Angeles, and guys going all over the place. So um, just excited for them, and I'm sure that when they come back, we'll have to talk all about it, and kind of just get a little scoop of what they got going on. But
I know that in about a year, you're going to say wherever you go is the right place, and you don't care who drafts you and
yeah,
that sort of thing. But as you do look at teams,
it's true.
do- it's true. It's exactly what you're going to say. But as you evaluate teams, what are some of the more important things? Is it location? Is it a quarterback in place? Is it a winning franchise? What are some of the things you would like in a team that picks you?
Man, really, just good culture. I think a team that you hear about different teams around the league that just have really good cultures, and that everybody enjoys being around each other, and it's a very healthy work relationship, and obviously that's a big piece. But I think also just an offense that uh, man throws the ball around, that runs the ball a lot, that is super super. I guess fun to be in, right? The same way that this one that we're in right now is it's an offense that is exciting, that's fun to learn, that's fun to play, and obviously it features the tight end, a good amount would be preferred. So yeah, those two qualities probably would be up there for me in importance.
The college football playoff schedule has been announced,
Yeah.
and you'll be gone when it expands.
Hmm.
But they did confirm what we all thought, and that is that there are going to be home games
Yeah.
for teams. What can you even imagine how a playoff game in Neyland Stadium will be after you saw the reaction of Tennessee fans to your all success last year?
They'd have to bring in more bleachers or something, like some extra seats or some extra, add on to the stadium or something. But it would be crazy, man. Have a watch party outside or something. I don't know. But having a college football playoff game at home in England, and it just obviously it'd be a big opponent. It'd be a great team, someone that maybe had never been to Neyland before. Um, so it would definitely be interesting. It would definitely be a cool scene. I would definitely, if that's the case when we're in there, whenever it starts, I'll definitely have to come back for that game if I can.
No doubt, but it depends on your NFL schedule.
Of course. maybe we'll have a bye that week or something. Maybe I don't know. We'll see.
That's right. Jacob's appearance always on the Vol Report, brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it's worth the drive. And you need to check out Bassey.com to learn more. Their buying power will save you money. You had a teammate do a little singing at a baseball game. Were you there?
I was, yeah, we were all there. The whole team was there for the first little bit of the game and watched Coach Hype throw the first pitch, which, in the dirt, whatever. We won't say nothing about that, even though
Did he throw it in the dirt?
yeah, he gave a little one hop to the catcher, but that's okay. Yeah, then Big E gets up there, man, and it's funny because, man, I've listened to Big E sing for 4 years now, 3-4 years ever since he's been here, and man, the guy can sing, dude. Like he's got a great voice and there's a lot of soul, and I think he grew up in church singing in the choir and stuff like that, and so he's always singing gospel music and always just singing different things. And so it was cool to kind of see him go out there and do it in front of a decent crowd of people, and I'm sure get a great response to it all.
Of course, we're talking about defensive tackle Elijah Simmons. So I didn't see where Josh skipped it. That's the one thing you can't do, man. You can't skip it. And he's a former quarterback. Did anybody give him any grief over that?
You got to get it there, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He came back over to our section. And we were all like, really, man? Come on. He's like, I don't know. And I don't need it. And maybe I saw it wrong. But what I saw, he bounced it right to him. But, I mean, hey, the catcher picked it. It would have been all right.
Yeah. If his shoulder, he's about my age. If his shoulder feels like mine, then that's about the best you can do.
Yeah. A warm up.
That's right. You don't get a warm up. They just run you out there. I've done it once, and it's a little daunting. But he is Jacob Warren. We love visiting with Jacob each and every week. The Vol Report brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it is worth the drive. Check them out. Bassey Lawn and Garden. Go to Bassey.com. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.